Greetings, fellow Kingsters. I'm Hotwife and erotic author Juliet Adelaide, and today I'm going to do a little reading from my second book, Mrs. Sexy, Under the Influence. And this particular chapter is about a couple that was coming into town, so my husband and I thought we would have our first foursome. So I went and met the man first, and this was the story as it went from there. I arrived at the resort pool and had been texting with John all morning, so that I knew where he was at the resort. My husband talked me into wearing a bikini. I hadn't worn a bikini in public in years. It seemed appropriate for the occasion, so I did. He started telling me how sexy I was. He seemed to like watching me lay by the pool, getting some sun, just chatting with me. He was a successful businessman, and he was supposed to be in town for meetings. Work got canceled, but he kept the trip as a fun getaway for him and his girlfriend Laura. She got there a little while later. When she arrived, she was hungry, so John asked if they could take me to lunch. Sure, I could use some food, and it was getting very hot out. We went to the resort restaurant and got to know each other a little better. I thought that they were both much better looking in person. They were nice, and we had some laughs. After lunch, I was shown their room and was first kissed by John, and then Laura came over and kissed me after. It wasn't as weird as I thought it might be. It was interesting because they kissed me sensually, slow, gentle kisses. They kissed very similar to one another. It wasn't as... I wondered if this happens with couples. Do you kiss each other the same way and now you both kiss alike? It would be an interesting sociological experiment, but who has the time or the willing experimental participants? I left, but would be back that night with my husband. My husband and I went out for a nice dinner alone before heading to the hotel. He seemed a bit nervous, but so was I. I let him know that he'll like her. Laura was similar to me in size. She was from the South originally, so she had a touch of an accent. She was very pretty and sweet. John had a very nice body. He worked out a lot. He was good looking, just a smidge too short for me. We met them at the hotel bar. After a drink and some talk, we headed to the room. John and Laura didn't waste much time and were so down to their underwear. I took off my dress and bra, as Laura had done, and I laid facing her on the bed. Hubby crawled in behind me and John behind Laura. Laura and I started kissing with our tits touching, knowing that the men would like this. John reached across and started rubbing my tits as I took my husband's hand and put it on Laura's thigh. John's hand wandered lower and started rubbing my pussy as I kissed his girlfriend. It quickly became a naughty game of Twister. All clothes were discarded and John climbed in between my legs to eat me out. He was good at it, really good at it. I laughed when a few minutes into it I was asking if it was too soon to come. I was advised that I could come again, so I just let it go. I came hard. As I was coming, I looked over to see my husband eating out Laura. She was moaning and writhing. I wasn't jealous like I thought I might be, and I had a stranger's tongue on my clit at the time. John got out a bunch of condoms. As he was getting them, Laura started to suck my husband's cock. I helped her. I knew it was a fantasy of his to have two girls licking his cock. Fantasy fulfilled. As I knelt licking one side of my husband's cock, John came back, so I changed cocks and started with John. He seemed to enjoy it a lot. Laura and hubby rubbed my pussy as I sucked on John's cock. This was all so much better than I thought it would be. John wanted me on my knees, so he entered me, and Laura repositioned herself so that she could lick my pussy as I was fucked by her boyfriend. I came again. John fucked me hard and came fairly quickly inside of me. Our attention turned back to hubby and Laura. I licked her pussy as she lay on her back for a while, and my husband put on a condom. As he entered her, she moaned loudly. I continued using my fingers on her pussy. John was caressing her breasts, and my husband was fucking her. I think she was pleased with his size, as he was bigger than John. She announced that she was coming, and I think hubby came about the same time. John wanted to come again, so he got Laura on her knees and fucked her, as hubby and I kissed one another and played with them from time to time. We all kind of collapsed on the bed in a position much like we started out. We agreed how awesome the adventure was, and we chatted in bed for a while. When another round was proposed by John, I politely refused, saying it was getting late and we would need to get going. We all hugged and kissed and said we'd stay in touch, although I doubted it. They lived out of state, so it seemed unlikely. It was much better than we imagined then, and we couldn't have planned it any better. My first and best one-night stand was the foursome. Fabulous. For more information on my books, visit my website, www.mrssexybook.com. Have a sexy day.